This episode of Nuff Said is brought to you by Tweaked Audio. To get awesome headphones, go to tweakedaudio.com and use the coupon code Southgate to get 30% off, free shipping, and a lifetime warranty. Or you can get there through the link on our website, southgatemediagroup.com.
Recording has started. Hello, cats and kitten. Welcome, White Bomber from the Burrow Pits.
Phil, Filmy, and Perich.
That's the guy. I love him. Oh, I love him so. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to Superconnectivity. There is a lot to get to this week. The Boys wraps up. I don't want to do spoilers because me and Moz are going to be talking about that soon, but I want to dance around it as much as we can. We got lowered. We got a bunch of stuff now. I've lost all my notes on what we're going to talk about this week, but we will. I'm sure Phil has them.
Yeah, I have them in the thing, but no spoilers on The Boys, but, I wanted to bring something up. It's kind of, I've been in the Halloween store, and I don't know, maybe it's just me, because I know Halloween, they have, costumes of, like, serial killers and, killers and stuff, but it's like, I don't know, I get uncomfortable looking, they have, like, a Homelander costume. I'm like, oh, hey, who wants to dress up like a superpowered Nazi?
See, now, I'm going to say this right here. Homelander is not a Nazi. No, at no point does he show himself to be a Nazi. He is, or let me, so you know who Homelander is? I'm going to make everyone feel real uncomfortable right now. Homelander's Magneto.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to make a real world, comparison.
No, he's because there's nothing related to a real world character that would be him.
Well, I meant personality wise. Yeah,
no, but the thing is, he cares about supers.
Yes.
He sees all humans as somewhat lesser. But he's not. In fact, you even see that in the final episode when no, it's already a scene that's passed. If you didn't catch it, it's your fault, Tristan. He's doing his rewatch right now. But at the very start of the episode, Stormfront makes a statement about Edgar that, he's very bright for his kind.
Oh, yeah.
And then at several other times throughout it, every time Stormfront goes into the Nazi stuff, Homelander's like, he's tolerating it. In the way that you tolerate your stupid uncle. But he's like, honestly, it's like Homelander's thing is he has a kid, he wants his kid, and honestly, Stormfront is, as with every other human being in his life, a means to an end.
Oh, yeah, it's like she's a powerful ally, and she's good in bed, so hey. Well.
How good she is,
Well, let's just say Homelander doesn't have a lot of choice of sexual partners who are durable enough,
Yeah, well, I mean, no, I don't even think it's the durability. I think it's the
well, he can go. He can go all out.
Willingness. Yeah, well, I don't think he wants to laser everybody, Phil.
I didn't see that.
And if there's one thing we learned by the end of it, it's that Homelander maybe was holding back a lot more. Mm-hmm. Which reminds me of a thing, back in my younger days, and I was hanging out with a very athletic young woman, we were doing, and at that time I was very big into like punch me in the stomach.
Whoa.
And then, she does it and I punch her in the stomach, and I did pull my punch, but I didn't pull it so much that I pulled my punch. She's like, I'm really impressed you didn't pull your punch. And I was like, yes, I did not, because she was very attractive.
Oh my.
But, I mean, that's the thing of it is like, someone tells you, go ahead, do it as hard as you can. And you're like, I don't know if you're ready for that. Let me do it as hard as I think you can.
Whoa.
And we'll go with it from there. But that was a couple episodes ago. But as we see from what happens in that episode, that was not what Stormfront was expecting. And, this what I have to say about The Boys' final episode is how beautifully it threads the grimdark needle. The entire point of grimdark is that there is no redemption the world is in chaos, the world is evil, but that, no victory is ever a real victory. But this series, and that is very much, I think, the theme of The Boys. But I think, without giving away spoilers, what the final episode does is it threads that needle. It says, yes, the world will always be a place of the weak and the powerful, and those who can cause pain without repercussion. But that at the end of the day, the little victories you get can be big victories. That at the end of the day, you can walk away, and good may even be done by the latest grimdark iteration that you want to align yourself with. Especially because they are a good person. Or they aren't a good person per se, but they're willing to tolerate goodness in the world if it puts them in a better position. Mm-hmm. And which is a weird thing. It's like, this is a weird thing. As I've always said this about Donald Trump, is that Donald Trump could have been the greatest president in the world because all he wants is to be liked. And he could have taken bold stances and threaded the needle of being liked to make himself appear, much like Ronald Reagan did, as a good president who was trying to do good for the world, while also making himself into this beloved character. He could have done that very easily. Were a couple things very early on that I really felt he could have taken this bold, meaningless stand that would have allowed him to occupy a middle space that would have allowed him to be great, and then he chose not to do it because, honestly, for what it's worth, Donald Trump isn't that smart. But, I think that the characters we see at the end of this are those characters, like Ronald Reagan, who are willing to say, yeah, I just, I don't want to see the world burn. I don't want to use what I have to just empty out the universe and be Dr. Manhattan and click my fingers and now the entire DC universe is messed up. I want to be someone who's just getting through day to day in a good spot, and I'm going to do evil to do that, but the fact of the matter is, if you all exist, it doesn't really bother me. And I also think along those same lines, Homelander is in that exact same spot, where so long as Homelander gets his, he really doesn't care about all the rest. He just needs to know he is loved, he is adored, and he's going to keep moving on. And I think that is where he has his falling out with Stormfront, is the fact that she's got an agenda that is way beyond any of the stuff that Homelander wants. In that sense, it's like Homelander is the anti-Trump in the fact that he wants all that adoration. But when someone says, here's how you get it, you appeal to these awful things. And everyone's like, and he's like, why? I was already doing okay when I was just being everyone's favorite hero, Mm-hmm. I don't need to be the hero of this small group who's going to cheer at me. I just need to, I just want people to buy my candy bar. All I want is to sell candy. That's literally my existence. But anyway, that is The Boys. Buy more candy. That was actually, it's not a reference to anything except in my own head. So anyway, other things are going on. Oh, Doctor Strange is signed on to take on the mentor role in Spider-Man
3, whatever.
Episode 3.
Whatever that title's going to be.
Spider-Man, it's time for college.
The doctor is home.
And here's the thing.
House call.
I don't know. And clearly what they've decided is that Benedict Cumberbatch is going to be the connective tissue in the way that Tony Stark kind of used to be. Which also means that Marvel is steering into the mystical curve before DC gets the chance to.
Well, I wonder if maybe they went with Doctor Strange, because I wonder if the original plan was maybe going to be Black Panther as the new Tony Stark, maybe?
I think that's a possibility. I don't know. I don't know, and I don't know, especially with other factors that go into that entire debate, where you put Black Panther. Although that does remind me, I do have a great theory, which we'll do at the end. I want to say that for the end. My theory on how to do Black Panther 3 amazingly well. And we're going to get to that in a little bit. So stay tuned, cats and kittens, and go to tweakedaudio.com and get some really fantastic headphones so that you can hear what we're talking about. I'm doing that in the middle now instead of the end.
Ooh.
Now people have heard it, and we can do those later, and then I don't have to do it at the end. I don't have to remember and do that big long thing at the end. I'm thinking, so that's tweakedaudio.com, where fantastic headphones can be found, and use the coupon code Southgate to get that discount. Moving right along. Let's see here. Man. Philip, give me one of the things on my list. I gave you... Oh, here you are.
Oh,
Let's see, what's this? MODOK. Do you want to talk MODOK?
I mean, if you want to, we got the first look. It's one of those, like, stop motion animation things.
It's people are going to say, oh, it's Robot Chicken. It's not Robot Chicken. It's Raskin Bask or Racken Bask. I see where you're at, Patton Oswalt.
And I guess it's about MODOK and his family and what he does when he's not running AIM. It's like,
yeah, I guess that's Modam. Why is Modam so much hotter than MODOK?
No. I guess because if you look at the picture, I guess he has a normal wife and a normal son, but I guess they said the daughter looks like him.
Oh, is that the daughter?
I think that's what they said. Yeah.
Okay, well, she is much hotter than him, so we'll go with that. So, then we have Don Blake, and okay.
I know you said something about is Feige going to cast like any of those Sony people?
Feige!
Fox
Feige,
people.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay, so let's finish MODOK while we're here.
Okay.
So they released some still images from MODOK. It's Patton Oswalt family. Okay. It's comedy, it's stop motion of some sort, or CGI that's meant to look like stop motion. One or the other. I'm not quite sure how it's supposed to play out, but it looks good. We'll have to see what the writing is.
Mm-hmm.
And if the teenage MODOK, I don't get why the daughter should be. And see, I think that's a misfire right there. To have him have a normal human wife, and then to split how the children show up. It's sort of that, the Willises from the Jeffersons, where they had two kids. One wound up black, one wound up white. It's like, well, it's not really how genetics work. So it's like they should all be sort of like slightly smaller heads, but still big heads. And,
I was going to say, if that daughter looks like him, man, that childbirth must have been painful.
Well, it doesn't make much sense at all. And again, it's just this idea that they're, I don't know, to me it seems a little too cartoony for anything that's in any way MCU related. So honestly, to me, it kind of seems too Robot Chicken-y, which I know I just derided, but I think that's sort of the problem with it. If you're going to make it too Robot Chicken-y, except I do think that they may rise above it. They may take what is an outlandish premise and then give it heart, which I think is what Lower Decks recently did, where they took an outlandish premise and gave it heart.
Yeah.
Where they said, okay, here's the outlandish premise, and we're going to play it out, but we're also going to build these characters in these relationships. And then they're going to get grimdark and have Boimler, spoilers, to have Boimler leave Mariner behind.
Cliffhanger.
It's not really a cliffhanger. It's just Boimler being a jerk, which annoys me because, again, it's that reality. Well, we showed you he was a jerk in the first episode. And we showed you he was a jerk in the last episode. Why are you mad that he's still a jerk?
He's always been very career oriented,
Yeah, and if you want to, here's the thing. It's like you can argue anything you want to argue. Because spoilers for the last episode of Lower Decks, if you haven't seen it yet, pause, go back and listen to it. Or if you want, go to huntakiller.com and help out Michelle Gray solve a cold case that she has yet to do. You can use the coupon code Southgate there to get a discount on it. And they do have a Blair Witch option too, which should be fun. But anyway, once you're done with that, come back here and hear what we paused to tell you, which is that Boimler takes a promotion to the Titan.
Yes.
Will Riker's ship, where, again, why is the... I don't know. I guess he just has his wife there. Honestly, that just seems like a just bad protocol.
But is she the counselor on that ship?
Whatever if she's the first officer or the counselor, I think it's bad protocol. And, for what it's worth, but here's the thing is, so granted, yes, Boimler screws over Mariner. But then Boimler can very easily say, I don't have my mom as a captain. I don't have my father as a freaking admiral. You could be anywhere, anytime you want, at any moment.
Exactly.
You want your own ship, they'll give you your own ship tomorrow. No one's stopping you.
Your mother would promote you just to get rid of you.
Or your mother would make you first officer tomorrow. You've got the juice in the business. You are, and this is actually, this was a neat thing. This was a thing my morality teacher taught me in Catholic school. Because when you go to Catholic school, you have to take a class in morality. A lot of people don't know that, and a lot of Catholics don't know it either because they didn't go to Catholic school. But in your class in morality, my teacher made this point. He said, look, I can go and I can be homeless. I can go live on the streets. I can see what that life really is like. But you know what? At no point in my life will I ever know what it's like to be homeless. Because at any time in my life, I can... If it gets too hard, if it gets to be too much than I can bear, I can go. And because I am a priest, I'm part of this brotherhood where they'll take me in and they'll help me out. And I will be safe tomorrow. I will never not have that safety net. And Mariner always will have that safety net. She will always have a father who's an admiral. She will always have a mother who's a captain. And even if tragedy occurs and her admiral father and her captain mother perish, she will always have this network of people who know who she is and will always give her the deference. And that's something a guy like Boimler will never, ever have. And so Boimler has to fight harder and take the chance when it arrives. And when he gets that opportunity to move to the Titan, and I imagine that's going to be that first episode where they reconcile.
Oh, yeah.
Where Mariner's going to be all mad and all full of her righteous indignation, and Boimler's going to take her down because, look, you're in a different class than I am. You were born into Starfleet royalty. I wasn't. Everything I've gotten, I've had to fight for. And yes, you are capable and skilled, and you could have anything you want whenever you want. But I can't. I've got to be the person who fights harder. And that's good. And honestly, that's also just a bit of mansplaining on his part, and maybe even arguably gaslighting. So it's going to be a very controversial second season of Lower Decks, I'm sure. I'm much more interested in the Tandy and I want to say Richter storyline, because Richter had his implants removed and lost all of his memories because his memories were stored on his brain implants.
Ripped out, yeah.
Yeah. Although they'll get those back, although who knows what's going on with that, and there'll be that stuff later. And they had the dumb guy aliens, who I really wish could have had more to their story than just being dumb like guy. As they said, weren't they just supposed to be a joke character? They like to lampshade stuff in Lower Decks, but the Pelkis, I believe they were called. But anyway, yeah. So that was that. Yeah, but I enjoy Below Decks. I think it's really one of the best Star Trek products out there right now.
Lower Decks.
Lower Decks. I always call it Below Decks, which is a completely different show because that's the show about 20-somethings having sex on a ship, and which my wife likes, and so it's stuck in my head. It's an A&E show. Those who know. What else do we have to talk about? Don Blake is back.
Well, not yet, but yeah, he's coming.
Yeah, well, he's coming.
I was going to say, to go into that, do you want to talk about this week's Thor?
This week's... fudge, I did not get to read it.
Oh. Yeah.
That's okay. You didn't read my book either, so
I know.
that's fine.
Well,
tell me about Thor, Philip.
Well, no, remember that guy picked up the hammer? I mean, basically, he only has it this issue, but I mean, because Thor and, Iron Man, of course, is still there, and basically, they got to keep the secret that now anyone can pick up the hammer. There's something wrong with the hammer. Now anyone can pick it up. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, Tony's waving the hammer around, and Thor's like, give me back my hammer. There's a, big fight. And then, Thor calls down the storm and's like, don't mistake welding my hammer for welding my power.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Why is Tony being a jerk about the hammer?
Because, Thor threw it to Earth where just anyone could pick it up, and he put Tony's phone number on it.
Oh, okay. So this is his payback.
But he's like, he's like, anyone could have picked up. He's like, I think he even says here, he's like, God forbid. He's like, what if you threw that to Earth and Doctor Doom picked it up?
Yeah. It's fair cop, But then again, I suppose there's maybe this implication that, yeah, anyone can pick it up, but it's not like, even though this schmuck got to be Thor,
mm-hmm.
and maybe he got to be, what was that character from Secret Wars 2 issue 2? I think he called himself Thunderbolt or something.
Oh, yeah. I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, but he basically Bounder just gave him powers. Goes, hey, random dude, have omnipotent powers for a reason. But let's see what you do.
But I'm just wondering if Thor's going to go looking for Blake, because at the end of this issue, the guy who picked up the hammer, him and Thor are talking about, all the problems with the hammer and stuff, and he's like, well, what you usually do if something's wrong, you turn it off and you turn it back on.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so
I wonder if he's going to, if I don't know, Thor's going to try to use Blake somehow to like get control over the hammer again, or.
Well, yeah, we'll turn it up. Maybe he's going to try and turn back into Blake, and maybe that's going to reconjure Blake.
But
maybe that's how Blake comes back, and Blake's got like all cosmic-y stuff, and Thor was just all cosmic-y. Because when we see the Thor, the Blake image, it's like Blake is freaking what's his name? The genie for Wyndham Resorts. With the wild beard and the wild hair in like cosmic leather spandex. So, yeah, maybe that's what happens. Maybe he's like, no, now all that power cosmic's in me and yada yada.
I mean, just all the enchantments around Blake and stuff. And yeah, it's over the years.
Yeah, well, Blake. Well, that's a weird thing with Blake, because I don't know if this was just maybe writers differenting or artists not getting the right notes. But if you go back to the first return of Don Blake, when you had the hammer fall in Broxton, I believe it was.
Yes.
And when he first shows up, he's an old man. And you see him on a subway, and he looks like an old man walking with a cane. He has a little bag that says Blake on it. And then he picks up, and then later becomes the Don Blake of youth. But there is this implication that he had lived a life.
Mm.
So, and now, like I said, that could just be artistic license. That one artist said, oh, well, if it's the Don Blake that always was, because, they say that, this man, then we see that he's Don Blake. And then that artist just thinks, oh, well, okay, so I guess when Thor stopped being Blake lived his life. He was a doctor in New York, and that was 40 years ago. So now he's going to be an older doctor, and so they wanted to show that he was an old man now. Then later artists didn't do that.
Yeah, I mean that's weird because I think that originally Blake got taken away from Thor when Odin gave Beta Ray Bill his hammer, and he put that enchantment in Beta Ray Bill's hammer, so Beta Ray Bill could return to his original form of horse face, you know.
No, I understand that, but when you get to the idea that they're going to bring Blake back, the artist just sees the notes.
Yeah.
It goes down to what notes the writer gives the artist.
Or two, it might just be like, you know, like what story was it? There was some story where they're like, yeah, you know, subconsciously when Thor was, Blake was Thor and Thor was Blake, it's like, you know, when Blake first appears, he's like a scrawny guy, but over the years they started drawing him like more and more, you know, in shape, and they're like, yeah, you know, subconsciously Thor was like tweaking that mortal shell, you know, over the years.
Yeah. Well, you know, although to be fair, they do that with every superhero who used to be scrawny. It's like Doctor Strange used to be super scrawny.
Yeah.
And now he's like, I'm ripped, Doctor Strange. Spider-Man. Literally, his whole thing was how scrawny he was. And then by the 80s, he's like, nah, you know, I'm a guy who can fill out a suit, you know. By the time that the great Otto Octavius takes over the body, he's all impressed by the abs he's got, you know. Never having had abs himself. So, yeah, so Don Blake is coming back, and, you know, we'll see how that story goes. I'm hoping they don't damage Blake too much.
Yeah.
As a character, because honestly, he's been put through the ringer.
Exactly.
Not as bad as some characters, but I would definitely love to, like, you know, as was said, it's like when Blake first appeared, he was created to teach Thor humility. Mm-hmm. And, you know, there's an interesting idea here with the other villains that Thor has fought, like Mangog, and the idea that being Odin, being King of Asgard, is too easy to be the being who destroys things. And it would be so important if there was someone who had power against you. Now, when you're Odin, the only form that can take is as a Mangog, as this beast, so much more powerful to destroy you. But the character who can just destroy you with words, the character who knows you better than yourself, the character who can say, Superman, why don't you just put the whole universe in a bottle? You know, that's the person who will teach you humility.
Oh, I like this. What if, you know, Blake, the thing, the being that Odin basically created to teach Thor humility, what if over the years Thor was like basically just dumping all his negative emotions and feelings into the Blake?
Oh, well, that could be a thing too. Yes. Tristan just got to the point in the boys where Stormfront meets her undue situation.
Oh, yes.
And they basically, you know, then they, yeah. Anyway, oh man,
it's the
Boys
speaking,
is so good.
speaking German.
I did want to talk about Boys because one of the things I love about Boys is that, like the MCU, like the original Incredible Hulk, they only see the comics as the starting point of the story.
Yes.
You establish the characters, you establish the ideas,
yes,
and then you start to expand it and say, what else could it be? And you borrow heavily from other places. As an example, my personal fan theory is that Black Noir is Deadpool. And because when we see his face, you do see that because we have seen that he heals. He has that super healing factor. We do see that, you know, when you see his face, it is all scarred and decayed.
That was just from the Peanuts.
Well, we don't know if that's what it was, but whatever it was, when we do see his face, there is that quality of it that is, I think he's Deadpool. And I think, as you will recall from our interview, although he said this in many different interviews as well, this is one of his go-to lines about the creation of Deadpool, where he said, I could have just as easily made Deadpool. I believe it was Fabian Nicias. He said, I could have just as easily made Deadpool a Snake Eyes kind of character.
Yeah.
A character who doesn't speak. And here we see this idea that he is Deadpool, but he doesn't talk. Mm-hmm. Which also implies that maybe he's Deadpool with that same kind of nuttiness in his mind and that joy in his heart, if you will. But he can never speak. which also explains why he cries when he finds out he's been injected with the drugs. That's like 4 episodes ago. People, if that's a spoiler for you, I don't know what to tell you. Just watch the dang show. You'll enjoy it.
It's been a month.
If you don't mind like people's heads getting exploded, because there's a lot of head exploding.
Oh, that reveal. Well, we won't spoil that, but that reveal. Oh, I was like, what?
Didn't see it coming.
Nope.
Although it made sense. Although that was one of the things I wanted to say was the head exploding. That exploding head trope is actually from another book, which is Millar's Super Criminals. With a character that can make people's heads explode no matter where they are in the world just by thinking about them. And that's their one power. But it makes them literally the most devastating supervillain in the universe because they don't even have to be there.
Yeah. I mean,
they just have to know who you are and what you're saying, and then they think about you, and then they blow your head up.
Yeah, and again, I mean it's an older trope too, because I mean it could be anything. I mean it could be a reveal that it's telekinesis, or even like a Sue Storm and invisible force field thing.
Well, whatever it is, but what I think. Well, so the first time you see the head explode, it's from someone who is in the middle of nowhere, and it's not implied that anyone's around. Now, when we learn who it is, it's implied that they're right near it. But again, in the same situation, they're not so near it that they can see the person.
Yeah.
They're just aware of the person. And in the first time we see that, the first head we see explode, it does seem like it's just someone randomly monitoring from as much as thousands of miles away.
Well,
and just making the choice.
And again, I don't know if it's like there's a trope with like different superpowers on shows and comics. It's like maybe it just has to be like line of sight.
Except in that situation, there was no line of sight.
That you know of.
Well,
maybe someone was looking through binoculars or something, or
Yeah, I mean, the first time we see, what I'm talking about with the first time we see.
Yeah.
With the one person from the CIA, and it's I don't know, because at first you're thinking, oh, was that Homelander flying above or some character with flight? But the character that we see doesn't seem to be that kind of... Essentially, it doesn't seem like that kind of character.
Yeah. Well,
it seems like a character who has their own agenda in their own way.
Well, that's the other thing. I mean, at the end of episode 7, it's like, why didn't that person kill Homelander? Does this person have one Homelander alive for some reason? Because Homelander was in the room.
Yeah, but then again, you don't want to wipe them all out, because then that's... I mean, to do the full thing, you don't want to wipe them all out, because then who are you going to have rebuild your team?
Oh, okay.
And for what it's worth, Homelander is supremely controllable.
Yeah, but does that person want the team, though? It's very confusing.
You always... here's what it comes down to. Supers exist. You need supers to exist, but you want your supers to exist. It's not about what other supers exist. It's not that supers can't exist, because they're going to exist, because Compound V's out there. You want to control the supers, which this person, arguably by the end of it, kind of winds up doing.
Okay, true. I mean, Homelander, as powerful as he is pretty, control. I mean, all you need is like a pretty face to control Homelander. It's like...
You need what you need with him.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, what Homelander wants is, like Donald Trump, just to be loved. So long as he has his cheering crowds, he's happy.
Oh, I could see him doing that final scene of Homelander. I could do what I want.
Oh, yeah. Well, I can do what I want. And that's the point. I just realized a nice symbology at the end there with the St. Christopher medal and the cross that Starlight's mom gives her.
Oh, yeah.
In the same way that they may seem in their own ways as petty moments, they're actually kind of much more significant. And the power that they have comes from the person receiving it more than the object itself. So
remember what advice I gave you? Yes, don't be a C word.
Yes. Well, that is, and like I said, this is how this show threads the needle. Because nothing about this should make you feel happy. per se.
Oh, that finale, man, was a roller coaster. I mean, just, you know, it was just like, oh my God. It was like you were sad, and then it's like that one.
Well, it is
that one fight with Stormfront, you know, when the three of them were attacking her. It's like,
what it is grimdark done right.
Oh yeah,
because the whole argument of grimdark is, hey, the world's not a bunch of lollipops and puppy dogs, so maybe we should just accept that it's all awful. Except for the fact that, well, no. So, like, for example, as the real world contingent, you could argue we're in that grimdark world right now, where the outcome of whatever happens is going to be what it is, but at the end of the day, humanity will continue. And there are little victories. And we'll actually wake up tomorrow in a different world. Well, not tomorrow, but, well, maybe tomorrow. We don't know. I don't always trust the news. I'm just saying that right now. But
okay, Trump.
Everything is wonderful. Don't worry. We'll have 10 times the crops this year. Propaganda. That's what it's there for. But I will say that, you know, whatever's going to happen is going to happen, and there will be happiness. There will be things that work out good. That this is the arc of reality, because even the worst thing can only go so long. And then either it ends or we end, and then we're off the board. So it's like, it's one or the other, you know. That's your basic nihilistic trope. It's like, either they die or I die, but someone's going to die, and then that story ends. And at least that story ends. And that's what we're moving towards. Anyway, you want to talk some quick comics here?
Well, we already talked Thor, but yeah, you want to tell me about Champions?
Yeah, let me tell you about Champions. Man, I got so many, like, Orville. Oh, Orville is great. Yeah, Champions is fantastic. My Little Pony meets the Transformers. The Fluttershy episode. Oh, Lilith, where are you, my love? Magnificent Ms. Marvel was great. I think that's my books this week. I did download. I haven't gotten the chance to. There's one more. Oh, we only find them when they're dead. Haven't finished that one yet, but great book so far. But actually, that's a great tie-in, because this is by the great Al Ewing. Do you know who writes Champions, Philip?
Who?
Someone by the name of Eve Ewing.
Oh.
I don't know if they're related.
Yeah, I don't know.
But now I'd like to find out. Eve L. Ewing. So that is our writer for the Champions. And I'm intrigued by that. Now, it wouldn't be the first time that people had the same name in comics.
Yes.
You know, Local Man has same name, but still, it is interesting. And we get the basics of the difficulties of the new law, the Kamala's law. I think they said no one under 21 can be a superhero.
I think so.
Which is, you know, honestly, it's like, at 18 we can kill people. At 18 we can join the army, but we can't be superheroes yet. But what really kills me is what's her name? Nightingale or something? She's some bird-powered super character right here with the red.
Is that Starling? Wait,
Starling. That's her name.
Starling. You know who she is?
Who is she?
That's the granddaughter of the Vulture.
Oh, okay.
Because she's shown up in Miles Morales' book before.
Yeah, she's kind of a jerk. But,
yes, yeah.
Because one of them makes the point. Who looks like Cloud9? I don't know.
Huh?
She's got like goggles on. She's a blonde lady with goggles on. But Cloud9, as far as I knew, gave up her powers, but maybe she got them back. I don't know. Cloud9 I love because she's cool. But she makes the point, all we need to do is find a adult hero to be our mentor, and we're great. And Starling makes the point, you actually look, all the best superheroes are taken. Who wants to be the sidekick of D-Man? I'm telling you, that's fighting words. I'm writing Eve a letter. I'm going to say, how dare you impugn D-Man? And I get teenagers. They don't know the history, Phil. These Zennials, they don't know the history.
No,
you're a Yennial. I don't know what you are.
I have to get Eve. I might try to get Eve viewing.
But but she makes the point. But and along those same lines, it's not like, and that's one of these weird things about this. It's like, well, shouldn't all of them be able to get like mentors easily? Because they all like have connections to notable superheroes. Heck, they could all join the Future Foundation tomorrow. It's like freaking what's her name, Moon Girl, Luna, could take them and say, let's go to the 4 Yancey Street real quick. Just, hi, Reed, can you just sponsor us all so we can be superheroes? They'll go, sure, you're now members of the Future Foundation. If Luna says you're good, you're good. And then you can even have a very interesting thing where Luna's like, well, no, actually, I don't think, Starling, you're good, because you're the granddaughter of the Vulture, and you're kind of a tough person to like. You're kind of mean, and so maybe you shouldn't be a superhero. And that gets a more interesting story. But anyway, that's not the story they're telling. But I'm enjoying Champions. I'm looking forward to the second one. I am gonna write Eve a nasty letter. So wait for it, Eve. It's coming to you.
Oh, I did look it up. I don't think she's related to Al. So
well, that's fine. So I should find her and see if she wants to be on our podcast to answer for her crimes against D-Man. Yes.
Oh, hey, I told you in Lilith last week I was picking up a book that wasn't Marvel or DC. Mm-hmm. I picked up, I couldn't find the first issue. I'm going to try to find it, but I picked up number 2, G.I. Joe Snake Eyes Deadgame.
Oh, how was that?
Pretty good. Like I said, I missed the first issue, but, it starts off with Snake Eyes and Scarlet, but Storm Shadows joins the party by the end. It's basically like ninjas versus like godlike beings. So, and it's written and drawn by we were talking about Deadpool, Rob Liefeld.
Oh, good old Rob Liefeld.
Yes,
nice to see him getting work.
Yep. But it was pretty good. Like I said, I missed the first one. This one was pretty good, so I'm gonna get the rest of them.
Good. Yeah, we read a lot of books this week. I actually had about 50-50 between Marvel and Indies, but no DC books. So, DC, what's wrong with your game?
You didn't pick up Batman 100.
No. I know. Don't like the Batman. Trust me, he is like no Lex Luthor. That's all I'm saying. There was a poll on DC recently about who gives the best which billionaire gives the best candy. Ted Cord won, and I'm not going to say they're wrong.
Yes.
Ted Cord, Blue Beetle, yeah, probably he's going to have really good candy.
Oh, you should have picked up this week, Young Justice 19, written by Brian Michael Bendis and David F. Walker.
Oh, well, maybe I'll have to go get that next Wednesday.
Because she wasn't the central focus, but Naomi was in it too. Naomi's like part of the team now too.
I should have picked it up. I did pick up a David Walker book this week, which is called One Fall. I haven't read it yet because David Walker posted a thing just to his website, and you can download the PDF of it. So I highly recommend people go do that because I do think it looks really cool. I just haven't had the chance to read it yet. But One Fall, which is a story that I've been interested in for a while about wrestlers and the supernatural.
Ooh,
so
nice.
It's very much up my line. So I'm looking forward to reading it. I just did not get the chance yet tonight because I just downloaded it today. So anyway, we'll talk about that maybe next week on this or that other show we do.
Capes and
But anyway, okay. Anything else you want to talk about this week? Capes and Lunatics, that's the one.
Yes.
Yeah, this week we're doing a Ghostbusters story, so
Yes, big.
Not the one with Tracy the Gorilla, so don't get your hopes up. It's that knockoff they did, Adaptation in name only. But anyway, it's good as these kinds of shows go, as remakes go.
We're doing a big round table, so yes. Go check out Capes and Lunatics 178.
There'll be people with Australian accents and Italian accents, and Alaskan accents,
and British accents. Yes, so we're going to be all over.
We have
the place.
British people on this show.
Yeah. We got Nick, who's from the, or no, not Nick. Jamie Burns. Yeah, from the UK.
Oh, Jamie's okay. Yeah, no, I was going to say, isn't Nick?
Yes,
New
Nick
Zealand
is
or Australian or?
Well, Nick is from Italy, and no, it's going to be Ray from Australia.
Ray's from I knew we had an Italian there. Nick's the Italian.
Yes.
Okay. So he's going to be telling us about his pasta and Bowser and mushroom princesses and things of that nature. I assume that's what's in Italy. I don't know. Oh, goodness. Anyway, so we'll talk about all of that tomorrow. And it'll post at some point when Phil gets around to it. Because he does all the work. We just look pretty.
Yes, we do.
Anyway, okay, so Philip, nothing else to talk about tonight?
Nope.
So, you know what people should do right now, Philip? We've already talked about Tweaked. We've already talked about Hunt a Killer. But you know what? People have other needs, Phil. They have other things they need. And, they can usually get those needs satisfied over at a place called Amazon.com. But they shouldn't go to Amazon.com. No. They should go down into our show notes and find a link to Amazon.com.
Yep.
Down there, they're going to click that link. It's going to take them to that same Amazon.com they would have gone to on their own. But Amazon's going to know that they listen to us first. And Amazon will reward us in this, late-stage capitalistic society, and that will have value to us and value to you, because that is what allows us to keep on making these fantastic shows. So go down to that link, click it, go to Amazon.com, buy whatever you want, and while you're there, check out Pod Life, the book written by the Southgate Media Group crew about why they podcast, how they podcast, and, what they podcast. Please do that, and we would be appreciative greatly. That is available both in paperback and Kindle download. And then, once you've done all that, why don't you reach out to us here at our phone number. Yes, phone numbers, like as if we were living the Stone Age. That is 614-382-2737. That's 614-38-CAPES. You can leave a voicemail there. We will play you on this show. So if you want those 15 minutes of fame, call here. Say Baba Booey. Whatever you want. We will play it on the air. I promise you. And if that doesn't work for you, why don't you email either Phil or me? Phil, how can they email you?
Well, the easiest way to get hold of me or any of us is capesandlunatics@gmail.com, and Capes and Lunatics and even Superconnectivity are all over social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram.
And if you want a very easy way to that, you can go to our Linktree account, which is
linktr.ee/capesandlunatics.
Well, there you go. And that'll get them everywhere they need, because all of our links are on Linktree, because it is a literal tree of links. And then if you'd like to write to me in that old-fashioned email way the way our Moz and Poz once did, do so at superconnectivityblog@gmail.com. That's superconnectivityblog, all one word, @gmail.com. And, of course, follow me on Twitter as I live tweet the next episode, possibly the last of the season, I'm not 100% sure, of Lovecraft Country Sunday night on HBO. I got to look it up, figure out exactly where it is, because I thought maybe, is it premiering early on HBO Max? No, it premieres live on HBO on Sundays. So I'm going to find it, and I'm going to do it, and I'm going to live tweet it, and you guys can follow along at Charlie Esser, that's CHARLIESSCR. Look for the 2 E's in the middle.
For quality. Bing!
Thank you, Maz, and thank you for Tristan. If anyone can... Maz we have a recording of him. Maz will live forever as a disembodied voice in our podcast. I'll be gone, Phil will be gone, but Maz will still show up on our podcasts as Luca pushes buttons.
Hooray!
Well, Phil has taken voice lines from Maz over the years, but yes. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that's Tristan. No, it's just you're not on. They don't hear you because you don't have a mic on. But you could always put on your mic and log in with your computer and be on the show if you ever want to. Okay. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening to us. Please superconnect with us again next week. Good night. I don't know if any of the things that Tristan is saying is being heard or not. But
Not clearly, no.
no. What do you want to tell me, Tristan?